Okay, so we're just gonna hop right into it because this video is gonna be super long. Most of the video is gonna be dedicated to the actual DIY portion, but I feel like as soon as I start doing the DIY, it'll be pretty obvious which school I'm going to. So I'm gonna try to do a really quick but still suspenseful reveal before I do that. Okay, so as you can see here, I have 4 different schools and their merch. One of them is a DIY. I feel like it's pretty obvious which one it is, but I'll reveal that soon. So I'm just going to go one by one and eliminate them until I reveal my final decision. Okay, so like I said, we're going to go through these really quickly. So the first school I eliminated was Columbia. Now, Columbia was actually my #1 choice for a long time, like tied with Chicago, but ultimately I eliminated it because switching between the engineering and arts and sciences colleges is pretty hard, and so if I ever wanted to change my major, that would cause some issues. Also, Columbia has a core curriculum, which means the requirements, like the general education requirements, are more strict, and so I feel like it would be harder to explore my diverse interests, and that's kind of why I eliminated MIT. MIT is a tech school, it's not a liberal arts school, so I wouldn't have as much of a balance between the humanities and STEM. And also, MIT has bioengineering as opposed to biomedical engineering, so it's more focused on the molecular level and on things like genetic engineering, and I just felt like Stanford and Yale had more options that were closer to the medical side versus the genetic side. So in the end, it ultimately came down to deciding between Yale versus Stanford. Now, to a lot of people, with my major being biomedical engineering, it may seem like an obvious decision to choose Stanford, but for me, that wasn't the case. I really liked Yale's residential college system and also the large focus they have on undergraduates. In addition, you have to consider that if you go to a school like Yale with less STEM majors in general, there's going to be less competition for internships and research positions, and also your class sizes will be smaller. So in some instances, that can be a greater advantage than having more STEM opportunities in general. But in the end, I did decide to eliminate Yale, which means my final decision and the school that I'm going to be attending this fall is Stanford. So this is the DIY merch that I made, and you'll soon see the process. But I ended up choosing Stanford not just because of Silicon Valley and the access to biotech startups that I would have, but I also liked how diverse the course options were and just how many there were in general. There's something called introductory seminars at Stanford. You can take some really cool classes, and also the student clubs are really fascinating. There's so many different options. The bioengineering projects are really cool. And while Stanford doesn't have biomedical engineering, it does have bioengineering, but it also has biomechanical engineering and biomedical computation. So among those 3 different majors, I'm bound to find a combination of courses that satisfy my interests, and I'm super excited. So we're gonna hop into the DIY now, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so basically I found a shirt, a Stanford shirt that I liked, and I'm using the app called PixArt to crop out the letters and the tree logo, and I'm just using the eraser tool to refine the edges and get rid of as much gray space as possible. Here's the final result, and now I'm printing it, and I try to make the size what I think would fit on a shirt or a sweatshirt, like across the middle, and I was able to get that right in about the 2nd try. Now I'm actually printing it. That's what it looks like on paper, and I'm gonna have to cut out each individual letter, which is gonna be a pain. Alright, so here's the sweatshirt that I'm using. It's just a plain gray, dark gray sweatshirt. So basically I'm just going to cut out these letters now and then stick them in this front region right here, and we'll see how it turns out. Okay, so I have the paper here, and I have some scissors. These are really old scissors. I feel like I've had these for at least 10 years. and they're not the best. I do have better scissors downstairs in the kitchen, but don't feel like getting those right now, so we're gonna make do with these. Hopefully I'll be able to cut accurately enough, but yeah, we'll see. Alright, let's start cutting. Peep my AP Chem lab from a few months ago. Oh god, I feel like I'm already messing up. Okay, let's work on the tree for now. Alright, we're making big moves here. Oh god, okay. What if this doesn't work? What if, like, the plastic melts together, and then this was all for no reason? Okay, so I just realized that I didn't really explain what I was doing. So I first tried following a TikTok where you basically print out the picture that you want on the shirt, and then you stick it between two pieces of plastic wrap, and then put wax paper or like parchment paper on top, and then iron it. But that didn't really work out, as you'll see soon. I tried a different approach, which worked out a lot better, kind of. But yeah, that's what I'm referring to when I talk about the plastic melting. Okay, so that's the best I could do with the A. As you can see, there's still some jagged edges, but that's all we can do for now, so we're just gonna work with it. I would just like to give a shout out to the letter T for being the easiest letter in the alphabet to cut. Well, not the alphabet, but in Stanford's alphabet. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys the final, like, preview before I actually start the ironing process. There it is. I think it looks pretty good, actually. Yeah. So now all I have to do now is put a piece of plastic wrap underneath, on top, and then iron over it. Okay, so I have some plastic wrap here, and I'm in the process of cutting pieces up and wrapping each letter. So essentially you just have to put a piece of plastic on top of the letter and then behind the letter, and you want to make sure that there's no like extra space, and each thing that you're ironing is completely coated in plastic. Now this is a lot harder than it looks, because the plastic keeps sticking together, and also it's really hard to cut out the shapes. I'm obviously not going to cut out the plastic to the shape of each letter because that would take way too long, so I'm just doing squares. Alright, so I realized that would probably be easier to just put all the letters at once, like in a row, and then fold this over. Now I'm going to cut. Okay, it's been detached. Now I just have to cut in between. Okay, so there are the letters and the tree with the plastic on both sides. Obviously the letters aren't in their exact places, but I'll fix that before I start ironing. Okay, so the way that this works is you put the patch down, and then you put a piece of wax paper on top, and then you iron it, and you hold it in place for a few seconds. Obviously that didn't work the first time, because the plastic wrap stuck to the wax paper. So I tried it again this time, but I peeled more slowly, And as you can see, that kind of worked. It stuck onto there, but you can see the yellow bit from the wax paper rubbing off onto the shirt, which isn't cute. And yeah, the paper peels off pretty easily. So I'm trying again, leaving it on there for even longer, about 15 seconds. I mean, it's stuck on there, right? Like, it's there, but do you see how gross that looks? Yeah, no, that's not gonna work. Alright, so since the last attempt failed pretty miserably, I'm just going to glue on the letters now. So I've arranged them like this. I'm going to use hot glue, maybe, and then maybe put a coat of Mod Podge over it. Okay, so both of my hot glue guns failed to work, so instead I'm going to use some trusty E6000 glue, which is pretty strong. The letters shouldn't come off, at least not as easily as the ironing made them peel off. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing, but basically I'm using a popsicle stick to smear the glue on the back of each letter, and then I'm just sticking them on top of the sweatshirt and kind of pressing them down. Yeah. It didn't take too long, but it was kind of hard to get the glue out of the bottle, and there wasn't that much in the tube in the first place because I was using a really tiny bottle, but it ended up working out alright in the end. Okay, so I finished gluing all the letters down, and they're pretty stuck on there. So now I'm going to be taking some Mod Podge. Mod Podge? I can never say this word. Mod Podge. I'm going to be taking some of this, and kind of just swiping over the letters with this brush. I don't want to ruin it, so I'm going to test it on the tree first and see how it looks. Okay, so I've just dipped my brush in. I've got some Mod Podge down here, and I'm swiping it onto the letter. Okay, so I've just picked up some more, and I'm going to start with the D. Alright, do you see all this glue on my fingers? I'm pulling it off right now, and it's so satisfying. So this is the final result. It doesn't look that bad, but I feel like if I get close, you can tell it's paper. But yeah, just gonna do a little montage. I would give this a 7 out of 10.